Well, g'day and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you what I think is the best budget gear in three different categories: under 1,000 US, under 2,000, and under 3,000. Now, I know $3,000 is not budget, but I know many of you have got budget gear and you're looking to upgrade. So in today's video, we're going to try and cover as many bases as possible. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to share lots of images by my beautiful members and subscribers. I received over 300 images, and I'm going to show you the best images in each category so you can get some inspiration and see what's possible even on these light budget gear. Now, when I started on this exact kit. Many of you know that, 40D 405.6, probably around $600 US, and I captured some incredible images. So you don't need the most expensive gear to take good images, and that's hopefully what this video will share with you today. So how did I work out the value? For the older gear that's not available new, I got the average sold price on eBay in the US, so I'll be using that. Obviously for new gear, I will share the retail price for that as well. All right, so let's have a look at some images captured on less than $1,000. And first, I just want to thank everybody who sent in images. I received hundreds of images. It took me a lot longer than I anticipated, and I apologize if I don't share your image. There were just too many good images. I will share more at the end of this video. So let's get started. Under $1,000. This first photo is absolutely incredible, and it makes me smile because it was taken with the 405.6. Bobby captured this shot of a red-tailed hawk. He said he was just sitting in a chair watching the hawk, and then it started flying towards him, and he's got his 80D 405.6, and he's just focused on it, madly took some shots, and he captured that exact moment as it was flying past. The detail is superb, and it shows just how sharp that lens is. I would love to have this photo, and you must be very happy to have captured that. And the other interesting thing is Bobby said he's been using that kit for 6 years, and he's got no plans on upgrading because it currently delivers everything that he wants, and that's great to hear. Now, the next image which caught my attention is this barred owl by Ben. I love the low angle. It's a very interesting setting. It's got a crawfish in its claws. You might be wondering, like I did, how did he get that image? And I've asked Ben, and he said he's a paddleboarder. So he took out his camera, his lens on his paddleboard. He's laid down flat. The owl has come in and landed. He's rattled off a few shots, and it goes to show if you can get close to your subject and the light's pretty good, you can get detail like this. Credit to you for going to those efforts. It's definitely been rewarding with that image. So the next image that stood out was this European bee-eater with a dragonfly. I love the color, the detail's excellent. Now, it was captured on the Nikon D3400 and Sigma 150-600. I've done a review of that lens. It's probably the most popular wildlife lens in that budget category. It gives you 600 millimeters, it's sharp, it's 6.3. I can see why it's so popular, and so many people have used it, and it obviously enabled Daniel to capture this image. So Daniel's only 17, and he said he'd love better gear, but it's not going to stop him getting out and taking photos with the gear that he has. And that's the key thing, is whatever you've got, get out there. And he's already capturing amazing images, and I'm sure you'll capture a lot more with that kit. Now, the beauty of that Sigma 150-600 is it does come in both Nikon and Canon mounts, and the next image was shot on the Canon 7D Mark II. One captured this beautiful shot of a pair of foxes. I love the low angle, eye contact's great, I like the poses, and it just goes to show the strength of that lens combined with one of those older cameras. Now, obviously that's a lot of reach, and we think, oh yeah, we have to have reach for wildlife, but not necessarily. There's another type of photography that you don't need reach, and that is macro photography. And I would love to do some of that going forward, but someone who has inspired me is Shane when he submitted the shot of a native Australian blue-banded bee. The detail captured here is incredible. I love the color behind. It just takes you into the world, and I really do want to capture images like this. This was captured on the Nikon D610 and a macro 100mm lens. And Shane has said you don't need expensive gear, you just need a lot of practice and a lot of patience, and I totally agree, but these sorts of images are possible. Another wonderful aspect of wildlife photography is if we take our camera and lens with us, we never quite know what we're going to encounter. And if we do see a subject, we're able to then photograph it. And subscriber Stella was hiking through the forest when she stopped for a break and spotted a red-necked phalarope in the water. She's got down low with her Nikon D3200 and the Sigma 150-600 and took this intimate photo. I just love that the bird is resting, the water is flowing between its legs. It's just a very peaceful and tranquil image. And of course, that wouldn't have been possible if she hadn't taken that gear with her. And the next image, also shot on Nikon, seems to be a popular brand in this budget category. But photographer Joe shot this wonderful bale weaver returning to its nest. The timing here is excellent. Capturing that bird mid-flight and with this action is just really, really impressive. And that photo was taken on the Nikon D500 and 300 f4 lens. I think that combo in this price bracket is actually pretty hard to beat. The D500 was one of the best APS-C DSLRs ever made, and the 300 f4 by Nikon is very, very sharp. It's affordable, and that combo, if you were to buy that, will deliver stunning results. And the next image I want to share was actually taken on a camera worth $149. So remember, Dan was out and about with a Panasonic Lumix DMC ZS5. It's a mouthful, but I hope I got that right. When he photographed these wild horses. And this is a pretty incredible scene. It could be like a landscape or a painting because it's just so beautiful. And obviously that cheap camera has enabled him to capture this memory, which is what it's all about. So thanks for submitting that, Dan. All right, so that leads me to the top 3 images in the budget under $1,000 category. And this first image, I have shared this before, and it's because I like it so much. And this white cheeked honeyeater by Micah. I just love the space, the light, the feel of the image. It's one I would love to take myself, and I love it every time I see it. And this was actually taken with the Nikon D5200 and Tamron 16-300 combo. So well done for capturing that image on that affordable gear. It's an exceptional image. Now the image that came in second, when I saw this, I had to stop and stare, and you will as well when you see it. And that is a shot of some cranes at sunrise. Eli tells me that he got up before 3 a.m. in the morning. He drove 2.5 hours to capture this image, and I'm glad he did. There is so much here for our eye to work through. It's just like we're actually there. We look at the photo, we imagine we're there. We've got that crane walking through. We've got the sun coming up. We've got other birds just sitting around. There's a bird flying in the frame. And it's kind of a banquet for the eyes. You're looking at it going, oh, what's this? What's that? And that's what we want with photography, is that the viewer looks at the image and then imagines themselves there. They're sort of getting a feeling from the image, and that definitely gives it to me. It gives me a really, really nice feeling. So well done, Eli. An absolutely cracking image. All right, that leads us to the image that I enjoyed the most in the sub $1,000 category. And for me, it's images that just make me smile. It's images that give me a direct feeling. And when I saw this, that's what I had. It was my gut reaction when I saw it. It was like, oh, I've never seen that before. That's really, really interesting. And it's this fox image by Liam. I just really like the color palette, the hint of sun behind the fox, the pose, just the grass, just everything about it. I would have liked a little bit more space, but this was actually a very opportunistic image. He was actually photographing waterfowl when he's seen movement in the grass. He's looked over and this fox has come in. We've obviously got that setting sun. He's turned around and taken the shot, and then the fox was gone. So it was a very fleeting moment, but it just goes to show what can happen with wildlife. You never anticipate some things, and it's often these types of images which are the best ones, the unexpected that you may never get again. And I'm just so happy that he shared it with us and we can all enjoy it. And it definitely is a very, very nice image. And this was actually captured on the Nikon D5500 and Sigma 18-300, yet another Nikon camera and different Sigma lens, worth around $700. So I think you can see from all those images that I shared, you can definitely get amazing images with this budget gear. And there's a lot of different kits. So what kit would I buy for $1,000? For me, I think I would probably go with this 400 5.6 just because it's so sharp, gives you 400 millimeters, and probably pair that with a 7D Mark II. That will still come in at around 800 to 900 US. So that would be a really, really solid combo. On Nikon, I would probably go with that D500 and 300 f4 I mentioned. If you really want that Sigma 150-600 lens, maybe pair it with the 7D or an older Nikon body. That would be really, really solid. Or you could even get the Nikon 200-500 and pair that with an older Nikon body as well. So if you wanted to spend, say, $500 or less, you could, on Canon, you could pick up the 7D and the 300 f4, or even the really good 70-300 Mark II zoom lens. That combo would be great. On Nikon, you could shoot with the 7200 and 300 f4. If you wanted to go even less, you've got the 40D, which is about 60 US. Pair that with maybe the 55 to 250, is it? The kit lens, you'd probably pick that up for around 140 US dollars, and maybe the Nikon D90 and 70-300 for around 250. So there's a kit for every budget out there, and I encourage you to do some research. And if you're on the fence, I highly encourage you just to get into it, get that gear, get out there and start taking photos. And I'd love to hear in the comments, what would you buy for 1,000 US? Jump down there, let's get a convo going. It's great to hear from all of you. Potential buyers can hear from existing owners and find out what might be best for them. So I just want to take a minute to plug fellow YouTuber Jeremy. He runs the Wilder channel. He has an annual photo competition, which many of you have entered. The unique thing about this is it's judged live on YouTube. There's lots of categories for you to enter. There's lots of prizes. It's currently open. It closes on the 14th of September. So you've got a couple of weeks to enter. The categories are portrait, birdscape, behavior, creative, macro, and new photographers. So there's a category for everybody. I particularly like birdscape. That's when we have a small bird with lots of habitat. I can't wait to see those images. There's a panel of amazing judges. If you want some of the best judging, if you want to enjoy a competition, watch it live. You can vote for people's choice. It's very interactive. I highly suggest you check it out. I'll put a link below to the website that'll have all the costing and the rules, but it's definitely a competition that's well worth entering. Thanks to Jeremy for supporting the channel, and good luck to everybody who enters. All right, so now we move on to the under $2,000 budget, and this was by far the most popular category. I received the majority images here, and it shows that's about 1,000 to 2,000 US is where most of you are purchasing, and there's a myriad of options. There's used, there's new. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at some images first, then we'll talk about the gear that you can get for that sort of budget. Let's start with some bird and flight. That's often the hardest to do and the most rewarding. And this first image of this barn owl by Stefan, what an image. The mood in the image, the eye contact, the pose, overall it's just quite spectacular. And he captured this on the Canon 7D Mark II, and he paired that with the very heavy 300 2.8 version 1. Obviously, even those really old lenses can still deliver some really nice results. So sticking with flight images, the next photo was actually taken with the Canon 7D and 100 to 400. By far the most popular kit in this price bracket. I've done a video using this combo. It's hard to fault, and this image of a peregrine falcon by Jan is just really, really nice, and it shows what is possible with this lens. We've got great eye contact. The pose is wonderful. Because of he's up higher, they've managed to capture this unique angle. We've got the water, we've got the movement. I love everything about it, and I would want to capture an image just like this. And it goes to show that for under 2K, this combo can deliver really, really good results. And whilst this channel is predominantly birds, we do get other sorts of wildlife out there. So I was very happy to see this lovely image of a leopard posted by Derek. I just like the royalty of it almost. It's just this beautiful pose, great detail, the sun setting. There's just so much to like about it. And this was captured on the Canon R7 again, but with the 18 to 150 kit lens, showing you that even kit lenses can deliver really good results. Speaking of good results, the next shot, the detail is just superb. So Mary Jane captured this white-bellied sunbird captured on her 7D Mark II and EF 100 to 400 Mark II. That combo was very popular for a long time and is still popular because it can deliver results like this. And speaking of capturing great details, Michael has captured this lovely intimate shot of a paradise shelduck and its duckling feeding on the grass. This image just gives us that intimate feeling, which I'm always talking about, is just, he's made the most of that situation. And he's taken that with a Canon R8 and the 24 to 240. Not a lens I've used, but obviously resulted in a great shot here. Now the next shot just made me laugh when I saw it, and it was captured by Peggy. She was visiting her sister in Berlin, and she had a little bridge camera, the Sony RX10 Mark IV, very popular bridge camera. I've never used one of those, but I got a lot of submissions with that camera. And this image of a long-eared owl is just wonderful. The eye contact here just makes the shot. It's looking down, wondering what the human's doing, and the camera's captured some really good detail there, and just goes to show that you can have wildlife even in built-up areas like a housing block. You just need the camera and the knowledge and the motivation to get out there and find these shots, and I really do like that. And speaking of bridge cameras, the next shot was taken with the exact same camera, and that was by Margaret of this black kite, and I just like the pose here that they've captured, and the detail is quite surprising considering the size of the sensor in those cameras. And it could be a good option if you just want one camera, one lens, you just walk around, take photos. So definitely explore those bridge cameras if that interests you. All right, so the next image is a photo that I really want because I've seen it a couple of times, and when it's executed well, it just looks incredible. And it's the shot of this red-winged blackbird by Stan. He said he got up really early, it was really cold, and these birds love to sing, and when they sing you can see their breath, and he's captured this on a Fuji X-T4 and Fuji 70-300. Not a kit I've actually personally used, but I do need to use Fuji in the future. But this is just a well executed image. He's obviously understood where the birds were going to be, the type of image you're trying to get, line it up, capture it, awesome. All right, so that leads us to our top 3 in this category, and this was so difficult. I had so many images to go through, and it was just the images that made me smile the most or which I liked. It doesn't mean they're the best images, it was just the ones that appealed to me. Now this first image I've included because the timing of it is just extremely difficult and very rare, and you may never see this again. And it's a shot of these 3 ducks by Jeremy. The timing is remarkable, and to have them taking off in unison like this is just very, very special. And the light here, oh, so good. I love the warmth, I love the scene, I love the behavior. It just comes together to create a very pleasing image. And obviously the Canon R10, which he used with its high 15 frames per second, has just frozen that action. The autofocus has tracked it. And believe it or not, this was actually taken on the RF 55-210 kit lens. So this was taken on a kit lens, which is pretty remarkable. So well done with that. All right, so this second image struck me immediately because it's an absolutely amazing image of a very common species. So Tort was on a holiday in Maine in the US, and he took his Sony a6700 and 70-350 with him. He's gone down to the beach as the sun was coming down. He spotted a gull on the beach, and he's decided to position himself, the sun coming down, and managed to get that exact moment that the gull is walking past. The sun's directly above it. The color is incredible. We've got the water, the ocean behind. This is what I would call an extremely well executed image. The fact that he's had that in his brain, he's executed it, and it's resulted in this is just, I'm running out of superlatives because it's so hard to describe these sorts of images. It's just what photography is about. What excites me is to see images like this, and it makes me want to try and capture that type of image. So next time I'm at the beach, I see that opportunity, I'm definitely going to try and do it. So thanks for sharing that, Tort. An absolutely cracking image. All right, so that leads us to the image that impressed me the most and made me smile, and that's an image by Vil, and it was taken in Finland. He was on holiday on the coast. He's taken his camera and lens with him, that's the key. He had absolutely beautiful evening light, and there was mist in the background. He said all he needed was a subject, and it just so happened that a black-headed gull was flying past. He's focused on the bird, it's focused on it, he's taken a burst of shots, and he's managed to capture this emotive, beautiful image. I love the space, I love the pose on the bird, I like the light. It's just an image that I can stare at and go, yep, that's beautiful. I wish I'd taken it. Lovely. And that's ultimately why it appeals to me, is for all those reasons. And I'm sure you're extremely happy to have captured that. So the camera he used was actually the Canon R10 and the Sigma 150-600. I was a bit critical of that lens on mirrorless, but clearly other people have had good results. I had some autofocus issues, but it's not stopping people from using it, which is good to see. So maybe just do some research on that combination. But I enjoyed that photo, so thanks for submitting it. Okay, so if you were to ask me, what would I buy with a $2,000 US budget? And it's actually quite difficult because there's so many different options available. Do we buy used DSLRs and get value, or do we buy new mirrorless because that's the future? That's the decision I would have to make. If we're going to invest in mirrorless, I think, as I've mentioned, the R7 100-400 combo is hard to beat. You can pick this up used for under 2,000. If you buy it new, it's going to be around 2,200 US, but these R7s are going for a really good price now because they've been around a while, and these lenses can be picked up refurbished for around 500. So I think this combo is well worth the investment. On Nikon, you've got the Z52 and their 50-250 lens. Just be aware that is an APS-C lens. On Sony, you've got the A6700 and 70-350. And then on OM Systems, you've got the OM52 and the 75-300. That's a real mouthful, but it's good to know that every brand has a combo at that price bracket. Now, the difficult part in this budget is you can actually pick up pro-level DSLR gear for that sort of money. Unbelievably, the Nikon D850, one of the best DSLRs ever made, can be picked up for around $800 US. You can get a 1DX Mark II for similar money. Pair that with, say, a Sigma 150-600, 400 5.6, or a 200-500 by Nikon, and you've got a very capable combo. Should you buy a DSLR? I can't answer that. It's up to you to decide, but you will get amazing images from that gear. So it's just a very difficult choice whether you stick with DSLR for the time being or whether you invest in mirrorless and go that way. So it's definitely food for thought, and I haven't made it any easier for you, but you've got a couple of amazing options there. And again, let me know in the comments what you would buy for 2000 US. All right, that leads us on to the under $3,000 US category. I know that's no longer budget, but with that sort of money, you can get some amazing cameras and lenses like this Sony 200-600. That sort of money is going to buy you very capable gear. So let's have a look at a few images captured in this category. And the first image was actually captured on this old lens, but with a new body, the 400-5.6, captured on the R6. Alan got this grey heron. The feather detail is just sublime. The dark background emphasizes the bird. Obviously it was in shadow, but the bird was in light. He's got within minimum focus distance of the lens. Thankfully the bird allowed him to get that close, and he's captured this beautiful portrait. It's kind of remarkable, to be honest, and again shows you just how sharp this lens is. Obviously that combo can be had for just around the 2000 mark, so it's not quite up to 3000, but you can get sort of an R6 Mark II and the 400-5.6 in this bracket. So the next image is one that I really liked, and it was captured by Colin. He's got this behavior of two white-tailed eagle females squabbling over some feeding rights, and this was captured on the very impressive Olympus OM1 and the IM Systems 40-150 Pro lens. He said the 50 frames per second of the camera, the pre-capture, everything enabled him to capture all these images, and this was the pick of the bunch. And that's what we're getting in this price bracket. We're getting cameras with high FPS, pre-capture, and just amazing abilities to capture images like this. So the next image is right up my alley because it was taken in Australia, and it's a full credit to the photographer Ryan, who saw this image. He's got his camera, he's got himself into a position, the sun has obviously gone down, his kangaroos are play fighting, he's framed it up, he's captured this image, and it's just very powerful. We've got the water behind and the clouds. Overall, it creates a very pleasing image, and he captured that on the Canon R6 Mark II and the RF 70-200 f4. Now I've seen that image, I obviously want to take one very much like that, so I need to find out where we've got kangaroos by the ocean and go and take an image like that. Now the next shot was actually captured on the Sony 200-600 and the A6700, which is an excellent combo, gives you plenty of reach, it's extremely sharp, and Adam's actually carried this up a mountain as he's hiking. He's come across a red fox that was just resting on some rocks. He's managed to create this tight, intimate portrait. The detail is good. It's something I haven't seen before, so it's got that uniqueness about it. Well worth carrying this lens up a mountain if you're going to end up with shots like that. Now, I often talk about eye contact and how important it is in images, and this next photo just demonstrates that to a T. So Sachin was visiting a tiger reserve in India when he's come across a tiger resting on the ground. He's used the Canon R5 and he had the original 500 f4. Somehow he managed to pick that combo up for 3000 US, which is a real bargain, and it just draws you in. The detail is excellent. The colors are complementary. You could just stare at the eye of this tiger all day, and that's what photography is about. It's about creating compositions that draw us in, and this image definitely does that. So well done. Now, the beauty of wildlife photography is we can go from a big tiger and we can go down to a bug. Again, this is a macro shot captured by Gavin using the OM System OM1 and a 90mm macro lens. There's something very interesting about this image. You just have to stop and stare at it, and we can't help but marvel at nature when we see these up close images. The detail is excellent. The micro four thirds is a very good macro setup, which is probably the way I will go. If I can capture an image like that, I'll be very, very happy. I think what you can tell from the images so far is that I like unique images that are just different. And this next image fits that. It was taken by Guillermo of a stone chat, and there's something interesting about it because I've never seen it before. We've got interesting color, we've got the grass, and then obviously we see the bird. All together just creates an interesting composition that drew me in, and I just really like it. So I highly encourage all of you to try this sort of image. Try backlight, side light, silhouettes, you name it. I encourage you to give it a go. All right, so that leads us to our top 3 images in the sub $3,000 category. Very difficult category, but these images are what makes me enjoy wildlife photography. It's what makes me get excited because I see images like this and I want to capture them. And the first image by Tomás is of this Ecuadorian hill star. Is just stunning. The color in that head is remarkable. The fact birds even have that color just makes you want to go and see it. Now, what's unbelievable about this is the bird is only found at high altitude in Ecuador, and he's traveled to an active volcano to find the specific plant that it feeds on, and he was able to capture this shot. I can imagine the rush of adrenaline when you saw that bird and you've got it. It was on his bucket list. It's now on my bucket list because I want to see and photograph that bird now I've seen it. And it's what a wildlife photography is about. What a rush to get there, see it, and capture it. The detail is excellent. It was captured on the Canon R7 and Sigma 150-600, which I've mentioned a few times. He uses that combo and travels around South America getting shots like this. Just awesome. Now, the second image is one that I am always trying to capture. When I'm photographing shorebirds, this is the type of image that I'm trying to get. Mark was out. He's had some black-winged stilts. He's managed to get down nice and low. He had beautiful light. He's captured the action just as the birds caught some prey. We've got the water droplets. The pose is great. So Mark's ticked all the boxes with this image, and I just love the action and overall feel. And this was captured on the Sigma 150-600 and the R8. So again, that Sigma keeps showing up in all these images. And that leads us now onto the image which had the biggest impact. This was the image which, when I opened it and saw it, I went, I'd love to take that image. And it was this incredible shot by Rakesh of a purple heron fighting with a snake. The snake's obviously fighting for its life, and the detail captured here is great. The light is just sublime, it's superb, and overall just an image that I think all of us would be happy to capture. This shot was actually captured on the Nikon Z52 and 180-600, possibly one of the best combos in this price bracket. And if I could capture an image like that with that combo, I would be very, very happy. So well done, Rakesh. Excellent image. Thank you so much for submitting that. So lots of amazing images there. The question now is, what would I buy with a $3,000 US budget? What would I suggest? And it is so difficult. There's a myriad of options. Do you invest in the lens? Do you invest in the body? Do you get used? Do you buy new? These are all very difficult questions to answer. In each of these price brackets, there's lots of options available, and you just need to choose what's right for you. Size, weight, and reach are probably the three things that you really need to factor in. Weight cannot be underestimated. Like, ooh, there's a fair bit of weight to this combination here. You need to be prepared to walk around and handle that sort of weight. Or if you don't want to deal with that, that's when you pick up these much lighter kits by Canon or even OM Systems. So these are the different choices that you will have to make. But rest assured, there's a camera and a kit for every budget, and at every budget you can capture amazing photos. And that's the key, and that's the takeaway I hope you get from this. Let me know which images you liked, what would you buy, or what have you bought in these different budgets, and we'll get a conversation going. I'm going to share lots more photos at the end of this video. Thanks again to everybody who submitted images. It makes me extremely happy to see the quality of images that our community is producing. It's honestly, looking at these images, reading all your amazing emails is very, very humbling, and I'm thankful for all the kind messages of support. Obviously, the support of my members that directly support the channel for less than a cup of coffee per month. You can help me create videos like this, and I will continue to make these videos if you want to watch them. But thanks again, happy birding, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.